What are you doing with that thing? Sure is quiet, though.
That's nice and cool.
Ooh. Shrinkage.
Yeah.
Are we back yet?
Yeah, we've been back.
Oh, that's wonderful. There you go.
Never mind.
Anyway, it's great to have you back, and we're embarrassed that you had to see that, but we're here with David again, and we're going to talk about repairs. You saw earlier in the show how we inserted this piece of wood right in there, but here's a tool for making a perfect repair, whether you've got to do you have a check in the wood or something like that, and you've got to repair it. I know you have these little wooden biscuits here. They come in several species of wood.
Correct. We carry 50 standards.
And they come in a couple different configurations, right? You have a wider finger jointed style.
Correct.
And this, which is probably more like a single bayonet or a single
That's
finger?
by far the most common.
Okay. And show us how you go ahead and make a slot for this bit.
Okay. Also, those come in the box. They come in medium, fine, and coarse grain.
Okay.
So there's a mix of grains, so you can try to match your wood. But if,
Try to stay out of the glue there.
let's say, we got to plug this in. Let's say that's our defect.
Okay, now this is the same lamello machine.
All we've done is change the cutter.
Could you plug that in, John?
Yeah, we'll plug that
Sure.
in. So all we've done so far is popped off the regular.
This is the
lamello
real
cutter
cool cutter we were
and
talking
put on
about
the-
just a minute ago. Okay, show
the
us what you can
dangerous
do with it.
weapon cutter. Okay. Now what we're doing here is we're just trying to align the cutter. Again, there's a center line, so we
Right.
know we're at the center of the cutter. Over our defect.
The action on that is really smooth.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and turn this vacuum off.
The plunging action on the lamello machine, if you've used anything else, you know, that's one of the first things you'll notice.
Okay, now the black line is completely gone.
Right, and what we have is it's a boat shape. It's not just a wedge. It's actually rounded in.
Correct, and you can see the shape of the biscuit right here that's going to go in for the repair.
And there is a tool
You wanna glue it?
that you can purchase through Lamello. The larger shops would purchase it. That actually makes those pieces.
Correct,
Right.
correct.
But a small shop would buy them. And, you know,
Now,
whatever
earlier
pieces
we
are.
used our glue machine to insert the glue in there, and this is the benefit of the LK is it gets
We
the
need a
glue.
shot of air.
Yeah, we need. Well, we don't need any air, but we need.
Yeah, we need to fix the gauge on this thing now too.
This is what we need. This is broke.
Yeah, I just popped
Nice
the cover
job.
off. Oh well, you know.
You own it. So,
Hey.
it's
Okay,
a good thing it wasn't
so
me
go
and
ahead
you,
and
Ken.
draw us a little bead of glue in
All
there.
right, let me lower that.
Now
a
you
little.
can see the tip here. I'll get this up at an angle so everybody can see it.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead and run it right in there. The glue will get right almost down, all the way down to the bottom. Can you get the glue down to the bottom for us?
Sure.
There you go. See, the glue is all the way down to the bottom. So when we take and we press our repair piece right in, we get good squeeze out all the way around. Now earlier you were saying that just press it in and leave it. You really don't have to do
just
anything
to press
else.
and leave. Yep.
So once that sets up, we could just go back and we can sand it off and we'd have a perfect repair.
Wait till the glue dries. We can sand it down,
And
and
we-
we can flush mill it down with that.
And again, you
flush
would
milling
select
machine.
your piece by the presence of the grain,
Correct.
whether you've got a little bit of heartwood or sapwood there. But once again, when you order a packet, it comes with a wide variety of that
Comes with
species.
yeah, right. It comes with a mix of grains.
all
And
different
again, if you're using
presentations.
some exotic wood, you can buy the tool to make these.
So if you were a
Correct.
high-end furniture, a custom furniture manufacturer, by buying a tool like this, you could really save yourself an awful lot of money in wasted material by repairing defects in the wood.
Right. If you have some unique, exotic wood that came
Right.
out of Lake Michigan and it was in there for 50 years
Yep.
underwater, and you drop a screwdriver on it,
Could they send a piece
can
of
make
wood to
your
you and
own
have you make
patch.
it for them?
you can do that. There are services.
Are
yeah.
there?
We
Okay.
don't. We'll do that just because we're nice guys.
All right.
And we have
Very
them in
good.
stock.
Okay, so
Good deal.
let's go ahead and get rid of this. And what's the next tool you've got?
We might as well do, I would say, the flush milling machine. The Cantex flush milling machine.
Okay.
Show you guys milling of solid wood edges.
Hopefully this still works.
If his ear still works.
Okay. Now, commonly this is referred to as a lipping planer.
Right. Lipping planer or a flush milling machine. The main advantage to our flush milling machine, first of all, it's lamello quality all the way through. So if anyone's owned a lamello, they know
Right.
about that kind of legendary quality. But the technical advantage is this spiraling cutter. So this cutter is not like a standard planer. This cutter comes in a helix action. It
Okay.
has 3 carbide knives that are reversible and indexable because they have holes in them, locating holes, and we
Okay.
can knock them out. So whether they're
How are we gonna run this? We're gonna turn this like this.
sure,
So
whether
they
you're
can
cross
see it?
grain or you have friendly grain, you're going to get tear-free work because of that cutter.
Carefree work?
Tear-free, not tear-free.
Kind of this zippity
The
doo.
dial here turns the cutter up and down 1.4 thousandths of an inch. So it's a very fine adjustment. And when you're at 0, you're flush. Dust extraction? What do you want to get? You want to get dusty?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and. You're plugged into the floor, so let me just turn this on. Okay. All right. Very good. Go ahead.
We didn't quite complete our cut, but you can see, if you're looking from this side, we started out like that with an obvious ridge. And now, I mean, that is perfectly flush and clean. We didn't even scar the melamine in the least amount. And melamine is going to show any damage from the blade.
As soon as you touch
But the
it.
adjustment to this is so precise that we're able to get an absolutely perfectly smooth, clean cut.
Correct.
What I was telling you earlier, Ken, when we had a shop, we were spraying a catalyzed varnish, and it was thick. So when we first started spraying it, there was a bump when you were done going down onto the laminate, which was terrible. And a tool like this is accurate enough that you can actually go deeper without at the edge of your laminate. You would cut down deeper and then spray your catalyzed varnish in and build it back up again, which was really nice.
Phenomenal. I know we spent a fair amount of time earlier before the show going over that tool. I'm really amazed at that tool, at how precise it is and how much you can really do with it.
Yep.
It's an incredible tool. Because even if you were doing inlay work or something like that, you're able to take the guard off of it, or the bottom
Correct.
piece, and
Fence,
actually...
not the guard.
Yeah, exactly. And you can run over any overfill of a surface good and trim it down.
Multiple
Including
passes.
solid surface we
Yeah.
talked about. If you put a liquid backfill in there of an inlay material and then just work into that, you could actually take off a big color piece, you know.
And far more efficient than a router, or not a router, but a sander, because you're not overheating it.
Right.
And a lot better in this case than a router, because you're not going to get tear out.
Okay.
Correct. Close
Very
to
good.
2 inches in one pass, and then you can make multiple passes and do
The
wider.
maximum width is 2 inches, approximately?
A little bit under 2 inches in one
Okay.
shot.
And how much can you take off height-wise if you're over, quarter inch?
It's got a 1,000-watt motor. It's real powerful. Quarter inch, sure.
Very good.
Of course, that depends on the material.
Now, another tool that he has that I was really pleased to see and interested to see, because it did more than what I expected, is really the trimmer. Because your trimmer doesn't just flush out the cut, but you could put on varying degrees of bevel, and by doing that, you really don't have to do any sanding.
Correct.
And it's hard, I don't know how easy it is for the camera to see this, but on this piece right here, on this side, we actually have a completely smooth, flush cut. Here we have a slight broken edge, maybe much like a laminate guy would do with a file.
Right.
And then over here, we actually have a slight bevel, which might be a little bit more of a decorative look.
And it could have been set for much more than that as well.
Correct.
And that was all done with the same blade. In the tool, all it did was rotated the base, which I thought was pretty cool.
And the tool is right here.
Right. What he was saying is the cutter in here, which the camera probably can't see, but there's this cutter in there that has an angle on it, and it has a section that's
Let's see
flush.
here. I
You're
don't
the
know if they can
expert.
get it, but you can actually see the cutter right in there. And the tooth is at an angle to the outside, but right even with this wall right here, it is completely vertical to the wall.
Correct.
And that's what gives you the perfectly smooth cut.
That's what gets you the 90-degree cut. And you can go from chamfer to 90 just by spinning the head, because what happens is the assembly moves up and down, and you're on a different reference point on that cutter.
Very nice.
Let's make some trims.
So you could use this, Ken, for like if you're going to, let's say you're going to laminate boards, top and bottom, before you edge band them, and they're particle board or MDF. with the base that's on here, it's going to ride on the rough surface, but still give you a nice straight cut. Where if you tried to cut this off with a bearing, it would be all bumpy all the way around.
So if you're doing like a T-molding piece, this could really save you a lot of grief.
T-molding, yes, exactly, right. If you're going to prepare this before T-molding, absolutely, it would give you a nice straight edge. That's a good application.
So really, it takes what is a multiple-step procedure before, and you're really just two-stepping the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, so as you'll see here, I mean, it's a one-shot machine.
Here, let me hold that hose down for a minute. Let's go ahead and turn that and just show the audience what you've done there.
Yeah, what we've done there is just a slight bevel. We've left a little bit on, and all we need to do is dial it a little bit more if we want to knock more off, a little bit less if we want to take less off.
That's great. Another nice thing about that is just if this edge is laminated, there's no chance for a bearing burn.
Exactly.
So this is more like a more powerful flush bevel base unit like we sell, but this would be more of an industrial grade type tool.
And the great thing about this tool too, and I've noticed it with all of these Lamello tools, is when you really look at them, I mean the quality that goes into these things. And I love good tools, and I know you do too. And everybody hates to buy,
Especially
and
when
our
guests leave us one.
Yeah.
That's when it's really nice.
Well, it's better if they leave us two, because if they leave us one, we know who's getting it.
That's right. Yep.
But, I mean, if you just look at it, I mean, the ease of adjustment on it, obviously the balance, there's a lot of ergonomics taken into consideration when this tool's developed. So, and I mean, I know we're boiling down kind of the end of the show here.
What do we have another tool to show, don't we?
Nope, that's the last tool, but there's
it.
one key engineering point on this tool that we haven't hit on yet, and the camera can probably see it, but when we're making this cut, our cutter is spinning like this.
Oh, yeah,
so our cutter
that's
is shearing down into the laminate.
Right.
Okay, similar to that, it's giving us a shear cut, so it allows us to trim non-ferrous metals, like you could have an aluminum laminate.
And I've had a lot of customers call in the past, and they buy like these aluminum laminates, the foils and what have you, and they call and they say, how do you cut this stuff? Well, with a router bit, you can't. It just burns on it. And until now, all I've been able to say is you just file it. But with this and careful planning in laying out your pieces, you can actually do it all with this tool without having to touch it with a file at all.
And in one step, because we know it'll give you your cut back and your finished bevel in the same stroke if you really set it up well.
Right.
So
that's really neat.
I mean, again, a lot of thought has gone into Lamello tools, and it's obvious when you really start to look at it. They are certainly not inexpensive by any stretch, but they are absolutely a fantastic machine. So I know I'm thrilled that you were able to finally get here. I know it was difficult.
Me too. Another thing I happen to think of that we do want to mention is all their tools come in these wooden boxes, and these are a really nice, high-quality wooden box.
Makes nice presentation. Looks good when you show up on the job site.
That's right.
Presentation is everything.
It makes it easier to charge a little bit more when your tool looks like they're coming in.
The best
Of
tool
course,
in the
then
world.
people are saying,
That's what
whoa,
it comes
man,
in.
maybe you overcharged me.
Nothing's...
But, no, we
One
really...
thing I do want to cover, and I know we
got to hurry up because we're running out of time.
we're running out of time. We have a minute. What makes Lamello biscuits so much better than all the other ones that are out there? Because they're a lot more expensive.
Correct.
Okay, tell me about that.
Similar to the machines, quality control. Lamello, all of the wood that goes into Lamello biscuits comes from within 100 miles of the factory in Switzerland. So it's all Swiss certified. Everybody's talking about green these days. Forestry. They have trees in the back of the factory, so it goes from a tree to a biscuit all under Lamello's control.
Wow.
They compress it. It's got cross ridges for glue, easy insertion, sanded.
Is it actually better, though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Why is it better? I mean, not just because they make it.
Because of the process. It's they only use 100% beech wood. The drying process is slow. They wait. They take their time. All of it is computer stamped out, so those biscuits are compressed.
Okay.
And the design of the ridges, the flat part that allows you to insert it, the sanded edges, no splintering, and then a 1 in 13,000th defect rate.
Wow.
So it's again, with Lamello, like a lot of the high-quality European tools that we see, extremely well made. So again, we're really thrilled that you're able to make it to the show. We actually have another show next week, and it's not often that we'll have back-to-back like this.
Right.
But next week we have a really special guest coming onto the show.
Who's coming next week?
You're just,
doesn't
just
know.
like it. Next week we have Bill Wally. Who
Oh, that's
happens
right.
to
Yes.
be,
Yes.
sorry,
Missed
Bill,
it.
but you make a
Yep.
big impression on John. He happens to be the gentleman that's over all the instruction and training programs for ISFA, the International Solid Surface Fabricators Association. So he'll be a special guest here on the show, and we're going to cover some really interesting topics that are especially really pertinent to solid surface and stone and quartz guys next week. So I think it's going to be a really good show.
We might even have some information on a new web forum that's going to be available very soon.
That's right. So a lot of stuff to see next Tuesday night. Make sure you join us, and we'll look forward to seeing you
Dave,
soon.
Thanks for being here. We
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much, guys.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
All
Thanks
right.
for your time.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks.